Welcome back to K&L Farms, and we're just going to go over some PEX pipe here in just a minute. And this piece of PEX pipe, and normally you run PEX pipe a ½ inch in the house, but we run our main feed for cold or freshwater, for cold freshwater, in 3/4, and we run the main feed out of the hot water heater up to the applications with 3/4, and then we reduce down for our sink and our vanity and our bathtub, those type of features. After that, we run a ½ inch after that. But our primary feed is 3/4, and I had this piece left over, and I'll show you here in just a minute what we're doing. And this tool, so if you cut this with a utility knife or a hacksaw, it's going to be frayed and it's going to have debris inside the center of it. And I'll illustrate that here in just a minute. And I'll show you some more here in just a minute. But if you like the content that you're seeing on my channel, please like and subscribe if you would. But I'm going to illustrate this tool, which you can buy at any box store. We have several of them. And I'm going to cut the end of this piece of 3/4 off, just to show you how flush and how square that end comes. And I'll just show you here. And this tool, piece of PEX pipe, and I'll just cut it off here in just a minute. Okay, so I just cut it at the end of that off, and see how the flush that end is. There's no debris inside the pipe or on the outside of the pipe. So then you're going to take whatever you want to fit for a fitting, and a fitting off the end of this. You want a 90, you want a T, whatever you're going to do. A reducer, you want to go from a 3/4 to a ½ inch from this. You're going to push that in there. But the first thing you need to do is, this is 3/4. Now this, and I'll show you here in just a minute. Okay, so these are just examples we had left over from the farmstead house that we're building. And this is a piece of 3/4. This is a connector. You can buy it at your local box store. This is an end. Normally we don't run the end, but we have extra ends, so I just kept these two examples out for you to see. And so you take your connector that came out of that container, and you put that on first. You got the connector, and you have now you can buy these in either, we would just run them in black plastic. You can run them in brass or copper or whatever you deem suitable for your application. And then you'll see on the end of this, and on the end of the other ones, there'll be see these little tabs? There's 2 little tabs right there. And you push this on to the end of this piece of 3/4. All this is 3/4 right now. Push that in. See how it seats, and see how this comes up. This is your crimping tool, or crimping flange. You go up to that, and then you grab a crimping tool. Now we own a crimping tool because we do quite a bit of development. I'll show you. And you're going to need this. You're either going to need to rent this for a piece of PEX pipe, or you're going to need to own this, purchase this. It's your choice. I'm not dictating what you do. Piece of PEX pipe, and the crimping tool, and the flange on the end. And, okay, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a tab right there. Kind of illustrates where this crimping tool goes to. Crimping tool goes onto that flange, and then flare the crimping tool out a little bit, and then just compress it. Takes a little bit. Till you get both hands on it. Yeah, it takes a little bit. Okay. Drop the tool, apparently. And by all standards, this should be watertight, but we do it again, just to confirm that it's watertight. Now, and I'll tell you here in just a minute. Okay, so at least twice. So that piece of PEX pipe, if you're doing a continuation of whatever you're doing out in the world, that piece of PEX pipe should be watertight. How we confirm it and how the permitting process happens is you do this throughout your house or whatever structure you're building if you're under permit. Then what we do is on the end, which is on another video, which I'll probably illustrate, I'll put a tab up. You actually put air pressure into your house. After all your PEX pipe, all your plumbing's done, if you opt for PEX pipe, all your plumbing's done, you put air pressure. And when the inspector shows up, he'll want air pressure on the end of this. There'll be a small gauge, and on the end of the gauge, the gauge is actually in the house. I can't show you right now. You put air pressure to this, and if the air pressure holds, and I don't remember what it is, I just know that when he shows up, the pressure gauge on the gas pipe, if you have gas application in your house, and on the water system, your fresh water, not your sewer. Your sewer is on your sewer you have a head pipe. You fill your sewer line with water that's standing water clear through the vents. But through the gas and through the PEX pipe or your freshwater pipe, hot and cold, you put air pressure to that. And on that there'll be an air pressure gauge. So say you put 5 pounds of air through your freshwater lines, and when the inspector shows up, if he can see the gauge, he's going to want to see the gauge, and the gauge reads some pressure, because if you had a leak and if this fitting is not good, this fitting is not stable, you're gonna lose air through this fitting in your house, in your new application, house, building, whatever you're doing. You pressurize that, and when the permit process comes, because there's going to be a whole bunch of these, you're going to have them in the vanity, you're going to have them for your bathtub, you're going to have them for your dishwasher, you're going to have them for all applications. This type of fitting, it wouldn't be a deadhead, it'd be a T. But when you do the inspection, you're going to have to put this type of plug, probably in a 1/2 inch situation, that's how we did it, and put a plug when you come to the end of any of your application, and it's going to have to hold air pressure in order for you to have a permit or get approved on your permit. And that's all I had for this video for today. Thank you. Have a good day.